I have I have a military background in my early life and special forces, African forces. And we've got a saying, we leave no man behind, no man, woman, or child. So in the New World Alliances, we always say we're leaving no man, woman, or child behind. That's what we look at every day. We don't care whether they're left wing, right wing, middle wing, left beak, right beak, upper beak, tail, wherever. These are people that have the God given inalienable human rights. That's what we actually look at every single time. So we approach everyone equitably, completely equitably. Now, this might shock you. That includes the policeman, the fireman, the everyone out there, because they all have God-given inalienable human rights. They've been led to believe that they're against each other and they are being divided. So you have people being divided into yellow shirts, red shirts, black shirts, white shirts, and the game goes on. And with from New World Alliance's side, we're saying no more. That's it. We're going to build the parallel society, the parallel economy, and we're going to do it with what's called the New World Alliances. Please put the S at the end of alliance. Okay. And what is it? It's like-minded people and like-minded groups that get together with a unified approach to change the world. From the New World Alliances side, we're looking at our jurisdiction is God-given inalienable human rights globally. So why are these things happening to everybody at the moment? Very simple. It's not complicated at all. What you have is you have an elite, be careful how I phrase this. You've got a certain section of society. We're not going to do name calling here or branding. We're just going to look at a certain section of society that believes they are of a certain bloodline that allows them to have slaves. Does that make sense? And we are kind of in their way of their goals to build their old Babylon or their old this or that, whatever they're trying to affect, and call it a reset. Mainly what's happening is they have got great sins, if you want to call it that they want to hide. And when you start exposing these sins, they go a little bit flustered and they start their nonsense because they have to stop anybody from knowing. So what you have in the world today is you have these particular people believing they have the right to experiment on us. Every single country in their zone has a different experiment going on right now. What do? They experiment and then they see the reaction. You've heard all about this, the cameras and the IT and the AI. It's all there, gathering in information and checking to see your response. That's what it's doing. So in England, for example, a digital ID is now going to be made compulsory. Well, I hear people in Australia that say, "Oh, that doesn't affect me, mate. That's the Brits." Okay, you don't understand. Once they perfect the experiment in the UK, they can then realize what works, what doesn't work. COVID was a test. It was an experiment to see our reaction. How would we react to a pandemic? How would we react? Would we all comply? And unfortunately, too many people rolled up their sleeve and just went for it. And as they did that, we know what they did wrong. But the point is, they can see that we are more compliant than our compliance is perfect for them. So what do? They step up the next experiment. They go to El Salvador and they go to Brazil, and each country in the world. And I'm in charge of the world affairs for New World Alliances, and I get all this intel across my desk, and it's just phenomenal to see what is going on around the world and in each country. Now, it's very, very simple. They base all of these experiments on old treaties, old declarations, and what they call new laws. How do they do it? They go into Parliament, or they go into Congress, wherever you need to be at the time, and they use a law called tacit agreement. Does everybody know what tacit agreement is? All right, so while you having your Christmas dinner, they have to have a caucus. I think it's about 7. Notice the number. 3 from one side and 3 from the opposition, or four from the ruling party and 3 from the opposition. And they can then bring a law into effect while we're all sleeping. They can then put a small notice in the government gazette stating that this bill is being passed. 7 days later, when you wake up, you suddenly think, where the hell did this bill come from with the digital ID? Where's this bill come from? Because you never hear about it. Okay, it's all done in the back rooms of these organizations or corporations. Let's call them corporations. And if you don't rebut, it becomes international law. That's how they do it. It becomes law. So all we're doing in the New World Alliances, we're looking at and saying, okay, we look at their move and we counter it. So what's Sir Larry? Now, does everybody know who Sir Larry is? Do I need to give you a background on Sir Larry, the founder, the chairman? Would you all like that? I think you just have to hit your little hand or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you should do, Brandon. Some people here don't know Solari.
All right. Well, we had 2 top jurists join us on a call to Sir Larry 2 nights ago that were so adamant that he was a problem in their lives. And after the hour they spent with him, they are so much with the New World Alliances now. It's just crazy. The Larry himself was born in the bloodline of Habsburg, the Habsburg bloodline. He was chosen to be the Pindar of planet Earth. And he was earlier brought up with Brzezinski. All know who Brzezinski is. And Brzezinski's other pupil was Hillary Clinton. And the Secretary of State that he was dealing with at that time was our friend Henry Kissinger. Larry was brought up in that area, and then he was shown the plan, and he rejected the plan. He said, no, I'm not going to be part of this. I'm a Christian. I'm not going to destroy 90% of the world's population. I don't want to be on that side of things. And he broke away, and he became the opposite. He became a thorn in their side, and he developed what was called the African Alliances in 2016. 2012, he was told the whole plan. And even though he went out into the world and tried to warn everybody, they thought he was nuts. He said, there's a pandemic coming, there's this coming, that's coming, this is coming. No one listened to him. So he thought, well, I have this knowledge. I must now get alliances. I must find how to draw in the alliances and work with people that are like-minded so that we can take this on and create that world, part of the world where we're not affected by this problem. So when the COVID came, which he told everybody 3 years before it arrived, he formed what is called the New World Alliances. He thought, this is not an African problem. This is actually a global problem. And of course, he got attacked left, right, and center, but he's withstood the attacks because of his position. And he decided, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their laws and I'm going to counter them. That's the modus operandi with the New World Alliances. So whatever law they bring out, we counter. Does that make sense? We work on the basis of divine, natural, sacred, and international laws. So when we write a document, when we write an ordinance, when we write a charter, we base it on natural, divine, sacred, and international laws. So if you read any of my documents that I've written, you'll see they're all based on UN. They're based on the WHO's actual own laws, which they don't practice. Okay. It's based on the sacred laws, the sacred writings, the sacred teachings. It's based on the divine and the natural laws. So when they come into their maritime courts, where they love to drag you into and carve you into little pieces, right, we don't go there. Because our jurisdiction is God-given, enable human rights. We take them on an earlier law. How they work is they work on Smith versus Wilson. Have you noticed how they work on their laws? Well, Smith and Wilson won the case against Bridgewater and Duncanhead. So that's the situation. So Duncanhead loses the case because it was 1946, and Smith wins it because it was 1939. And they all get together. They carve up the money, goes three ways: defense, prosecution, to the judge, and everybody's happy, and they go out for dinner. But the point is that what we say is, no, we have earlier laws, and we stump them every time. So what Sir Larry did when the COVID hit, he put out an ordinance. David, have you got the ordinance? Can you show it?
So I'll pass it to Harvinder, actually. Harvinder, would you mind showing the ordinance?
Right. 1 second.
Is everybody with us so far?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
I said there's going to be more and more training because we're going to have to turn you into ambassadors of high ethical repute so that you can knock on the doors. I'll explain that all to you as well.
Well, actually, Harvinder, can I share? Maybe I can share my screen, actually, for Harvinder, if that's easier.
Yeah, I can make you co-host and then you can do that.
I've got a green thing to say share. I'll send request.
Yeah, I've made you co-host.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great. I will now share the screen.
And this ordinance is freely available to download on our website. Also, the brand new Farmers and Food and Water Security Ordinance is also up on our website, and you're free to download that as well, which I'll talk about probably a little bit here. Okay, so
can everybody see that?
Everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it's just half a page.
There's a lot more to go down. Yeah. I can bring it up a little bit more.
So what is an ordinance? Okay. In the Roman Catholic Church, what do? They ordain a priest. And by ordaining and announcing, we know about the birth certificate story. Everyone here definitely will know about that. And if you notice, they don't ask permission in that part of the world. They announce. So they ordain a priest. They make it known that that's a priest, whether you like it or not. Then they put him in a trust. So if you want to sue the Roman Catholic Church, forget it. Because if you sue the priest in his own capacity, you're suing his trust. And good luck trying to get any money out of that. So the thing is, they ordain the priest. So this is an ordinance. It's an announcement. And what Sir Larry did, he said, okay, to the World Health Organization, to the European Union, African Union, United Nations Security Council, to the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, he basically said, I declare this. And this was sent out to every leader, every medical institution, every medical officer, health department, defense departments, intelligence units, CIA, KGB, MI5, MI6, MI9, whoever, science and climatic societies specifically, while not separating any and all governmental institutions. This was sent out declaring that this is the way it is. Not, hey, can we get permission to have our people not be vaccinated or wear a mask? It was declared. So when you got your Peace Ambassador card, if you have your Peace Ambassador membership, you are alongside, under, inner, wherever you want to look at it, this ordinance. And this ordinance protects you as an ambassador. Because what Sir Larry went and did was he looked at the the Vienna Convention 1961, 1963, which I suggest you go and read, and it talks about government ambassadors. But there's no difference between a government ambassador and any other ambassador that represents human rights. So you are ambassadors for God-given inalienable human rights, and anything between the color of black and white and all the grays in between that connect to human rights, which is a vast subject. But this specific ordinance was to deal with the COVID that hit us. When people had this ordinance, they were able to travel freely. I have many incidences where we've had ambassadors, just at the peace ambassador level, that were not stopped from traveling, didn't have to wear a mask on the airplane, didn't have to take the you-know-what, and actually started to send out cease and desists to clinics, hospitals, goodness knows what else, because that becomes your right as well as an ambassador, is to actually take on the violations of human rights. Isn't that exciting? Because it's not just a case of you being protected. You can approach it, but please, it has to be on a peaceful manner. Okay, what you do not want to do is rush down to your police station with summonses and all this type of thing as a New World Alliance's ambassador. In your personal capacity, if you want to throw summonses around and things like that, that's your affair. But with New World Alliances as an ambassador, visit your local police station. That might shock you. Visit your fire station, visit the hospital, announce yourself as an ambassador. Show them your card. Okay? Start making friends, because you'll find the general population doesn't understand they even have God-given inalienable human rights. And that's what we've got to be able to do, is let people know you've got these human rights. And that's from the left wing, the right wing, the upper wing, the central, wherever. So this was sent out, and you can see that it's based on international law. It's based on, the ordinance was based on the Maginski Act, the Great Barrington Declaration on Human Rights, the following relevant codes, treaties, documents refer to the Treaty of Rome, Articles 15.1, and so on and so forth. So anybody that comes against you as an ambassador, you just put your hands up and say, whoa, hang on a minute. Whoa, right? You're not attacking me. You're attacking this. You're attacking the United Nations. You're attacking everything which has been written. You get it? You have got something in your hand to back you. You've got a defense as well as having an attack. Now, how do we attack? We attack with a set of 5 letters. Why? Because you've got to create a paper trail. A lot of people go out and they lay charges and they lay cease and desist out there, but you're actually violating international law by doing that, because there's a gradient of ethics. There's a gradient that you have to take in approaching anything. It's the same that the debt collectors are supposed to have, where they approach you with so many letters. You know the letters they approach you with? So we approach them with, example, in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we have a situation in the government, and it was to do with the police recording your telephone details. And all we did was we sent a letter to the government, and we sent it to every police minister in the world. I kid you not. And we said, hey, we understand that there's a possibility that you guys are going to have a device where you can walk past someone and download their information off their phones. And in effect, we say, well, is this true? And if it is true, what law are you basing your actions on? What United Nations law, what international law, whatever law are you? And they know there's no law that covers them. And then what happens is we don't get a reply. We then send another letter. Remember, we are creating what is known as the paper trail. We have now got a global house of social justice on Indigenous lands in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So now we come under a United Nations, a very powerful United Nations Indigenous Peoples Act called UNDRIP, UNDRIP. I suggest you all go and read it and have the biggest smile of your lives when you read it, because you've got so much protection that you didn't know you have from the UN itself. So you've got to understand the UN and all these organizations brought out these laws and regulations to do what? Cover them. But they never expected people to suddenly go out and understand how to utilize this in a peaceful manner, because they always want you to get violent or aggressive or take it up with this and that. And from the New World Alliance's viewpoint, as ambassadors, where we are registered in the UN, now just everybody, before you jump off your chairs, we're in the UN, but not of the UN. And that annoys the UN. In the early days, the UN came to us and offered us 120,000 US dollars a year through the IMF. And so Larry said, you think I'm stupid? You think I'm going to contract to this? Okay, the second I contract to this, I'm under your jurisdiction. So he said, no, take your money, buzz.
That's per ambassador as well, right, Brendan?
Yeah.
Per ambassador.
Yeah. So we refused it. We then brought out our own flag, which annoyed them no end, but there's nothing stopping that at all. We're on our way to getting the flag recognized at an international level. So we've made great strides, but in no way have we ever gone into a violent, aggressive, threatening mode. We've always dealt with everything peaceful and amicably. So we're registered with the United Nations Security Council. We're registered in the UN, but we're not of the UN. What annoys them is that we can come and go. We're still registered within the UN, which allows you to go to any UN organization and take them up on any situation around the world. Once you get to Peace Ambassador, we like the people who want to really do something about the world to apply to become what we call Global Ambassadors Diaspora. Now, diaspora is the biggest problem in the world at the moment. It means displaced people. It comes from the Greek dandelion, where you get all spew, you get all the flower breaking up and going in all in different directions. So as a Global Ambassador Diaspora, you are dealing with the diaspora problem, and you have the right to deal with it. And if you look around UK at the moment, I think you've got a fair amount of diaspora problems, as many countries in the world have. So when you go down to your local police station, you can actually say, hi, I'm a Global Ambassador Diaspora for the province, I don't know what you call it, for Sussex or for Hampshire or whatever it is, whatever we appoint you as, whatever you decide you want to be appointed as. And you go down there and you say, hi, any diaspora problems, get hold of me. Now, where does that put you suddenly in the eyes of the police? Where do you think it puts you? It puts you in a very untouchable way. Because now you're a UN, ambassador. That's all they know. Remember, you're in the UN, but you're not of the UN. So if you get any UN forces coming in, you actually are in command of them. So if you get a UN peacekeeping force moving into your area, please go out with your card and say, hi, well, hang on, let me talk to your commander, please. Just so I let you know, my community, I am a global ambassador diaspora. Okay, so you leave my house alone and you leave my people alone. Do you understand what we're saying to you? You're talking peace. So the more peace ambassadors you have in a community, the more that community has the effect upon keeping at bay a potential danger or attack. As a peace ambassador, you will not be subjected to 15-minute cities. You should not be subjected to surveillance. If you read that ordinance, we are looking into it at the moment to find that if anybody who is an ambassador is put under surveillance, what legal, I said legal, not lawful, what legal rights have we got to sue the people that are surveilling us? Okay, and that's once again the letters, the progress of the letters, the 5 letters. The second letter is to say, hey, you haven't answered our letter. Now you got us concerned because we think you might be hiding something. If you do not now operate to send us the information we're asking for, we will go ahead and we'll issue a cease and desist. Do you see the paper trail, David? Do you see the paper trail? Now we send out the cease and desist. Nothing happens. Now we send out another letter saying, hey, we've sent you a cease and desist, okay, and we've asked you to knock it off. Now we're really concerned. So the next 4th letter is, if you do not, I repeat, if you do not comply with our cease and desist, we have no other compunction but to send out a charge sheet. Then we send out a charge sheet, and that's the package of 5. The copies go to the ICJ, ICC, etc., etc. Now, a lot of people will say, "Ooh, the ICC, they don't do anything, etc., etc." Okay, but the point is, you've got a paper trail file. Now we go further, because if we find there's a crime involved there, we will send that dossier or that file to the FBI. We'll find other places to distribute the information to let people know there's been a violation. What does that do? Do you remember in the COVID, when you got the COVID and everybody caught everybody out and everybody had, right, we got you. And what did the people say? I knew nothing about that. We told you to go to your doctors and get the advice. You go to your doctors, they say, well, we know nothing about that. We just had to carry out the rules and regulations as we saw fit. Have you noticed one person being prosecuted for the COVID yet? No one that I can think of. Only people that got prosecuted were the people that went up against the system. So what happens when you've got the paper trail? There's no point of denial, is there? Because here is the evidence that that person was furnished with all the warnings, the standards, etc., etc. So that is one of the things we're doing, and it is working, because we had one of the ministers in Aotearoa, New Zealand, who rushed to the UN, believe it or not, and complained about the New World Alliance as being a fraud. And it went right to the top of the UN, and Guterres, who knows Larry very well, actually turned around and he said to him, leave my people alone. It went right back to the Prime Minister, and he got a bollocking in his ear, and he basically went down to the minister and said, I think you should take an early retirement. You've caused a lot of embarrassment to me and this government. So, do we have a lot of power? Yes, we do. But we are not going around bashing our chests, okay, and walking over to the local policeman we teach people how to deal with the police, how to deal with these, what we call first defense line. It's like a logger where you've got all your first defenders, your police, your customs, your irritation, immigration, your TSA, your army, your doctors, your paramedics, your nurses, and they use this to surround them with. Have you noticed it? So that you can never get to the central point to complain or to take up your gripes or groans. If you see a minister on the street and you start shouting and screaming at him, well, that's not going to get you anywhere. With our operating basis, we like to send the letter, and we like to then send an ambassador on an assignment to actually visit Thames House, House of Lords, wherever you want to go as an ambassador. You can get in, but it's all protocol. It's not a get out of jail card free, please, because ambassadors had that before. We don't want to have that with our ambassadors. We want you to be the most ethical, honest people. If you've got a speeding fine, just pay it. If you've got a parking fine, just pay it. And how do you stop getting the speeding fines? Just stop speeding. You get what I'm saying? Just use your intelligence as an ambassador to be a forthright person living the life of the living man, the living woman, and treating everybody with absolute dignity and helpline. All about help. If you offer help as an ambassador, you will be of value to that community, that society. We have got massive amounts of experience. Somehow, the UK has been chosen as a laboratory for the world. If you look at what's happening in the UK, every morning you're waking up, you're finding a new law. The hate speech experiment, the farmers experiment, this experiment, that experiment, each different experiment. And it's designed to make you feel like you just want to give up. Don't give up, because all of this will come to pass. It will. And these experiments, if we don't comply, but if we don't comply with peace and we approach things from the right angle, we will get through whatever we need to get through. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, to me.
Okay, so I'll take, if you don't mind, I'll stay there for the moment and I'll ask for any real questions. David, if you can run the questions line. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So if you can actually run that question line. If there are, I'll take some questions now before I move on to the next part.
Nobody has raised their hand yet, but if anybody has got any questions, please raise your hand and speak. Not all at once, of course. One at a time. So, Fan, you have a question?
Yeah. So, Brendan, you mentioned about the speeding fine, for instance, and obviously, yeah, don't speed. But what about things like, the ULEZ, all the charges they're putting in place, especially in England, that are not really, they're just trying to impoverish us, basically. How do we get around those sort of things in terms of not paying?
Okay, I'm sorry I'm laughing. I'm laughing at because it's brought up with Jeff. Jeff has been fighting for that right. We understand that. Okay. You see, you take a different approach, and I'm not interfering with the assemblies or with TECA or anything. A lot of our members in NWA are joining TECA, by the way. So we're all together in this. All right. There's no you and us. There's just us here. Okay. We are moving ahead. Now, everybody just calm down. It's a progress where we do a peace and trade treaty with you. Okay. So New World Alliances does a peace and trade treaty with Harvinder, his family, his company, which gives you extra protection under the New World Alliances, aligned with the New World Alliances. All right. So then what we do is we put your house, all your car, etc., under protection, not insurance. Please get me right. Okay. We put it under protection, and then we advance your home to a consulate. The consulate can either be a sacred site, or it can be a house of peace, where you welcome people who are traumatized, having problems, to visit you by invitation only. You won't have 1,000 people outside your door, and it will give you a declaration of a consulate. How do we do that? Because we have now got United Tribes of Aotearoa, New Zealand, who are now peace and trade treaty members with us. We have the Khoisan, the First Nations people of South Africa, that are now peace and trade treaty members with us. We have a number of countries that are advancing to us to take a peace and trade treaty with us, meaning that is giving us a growth point and heading us towards what is called sui generis. Who is sui generis? The Roman Catholic Church, the Knights of Malta, the United Nations, etc., etc. Sui generis means you're out of the ordinary. You stand on your own. You're just to be left alone. The Knights of Malta don't have any land. They call themselves Malta, cleverly, but they're not from Malta. That is a Roman Catholic higher level operation. You have to be Roman Catholic to be part of the Knights of Malta. You have to be Roman Catholic to be part of the Roman Catholic Vatican. You have to be a certain level to be part of the United Nations, correct? So, what we say in the New World Alliances, you have to be human to be part of our sui generis. That's all we want. Prove you're human and you're part of us. So our membership is swelling, and we have no limits to the amount of members that we can call upon to be sui generis. This is a progress we're going to be working with Jeff and David to get as many consulates as we can in the United Kingdom. New World Alliance's actual consulates. All we're looking to do now is with the farmers' ordinance is to make sure that the farmers who take the ordinance are protected. You need to read that ordinance. We've also brought out a charter. David, I sent that charter through to you. Do you have it to put up online?
Yes, we have the charter.
We did the same thing with the ordinance for the actual farmers. Man, I tell you what, we sent it to Rockefeller, Rothschild, De Morgan. we sent it to the WHO. We sent it to every agency in the world. And we've had, listen to me, we've had no rebuttals. May I read this out to you, and you'll get an idea of how we put our documentation together. Would that be okay with everyone?
Yes, it would.
So you know
Yes.
that what the attempt is to starve us, to cut our water supplies off, to control us with various manners of, if you're not a good boy and you don't have the points, you can't have any cheese this week, you can't do this, you can't do that, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So any farmer, any person that grows food, even in your backyard, David, okay, this covers it. All right. So we, the New World Alliances, together with all peoples, nations, elders, and institutions willing to affirm this charter, recognizing the divine, inherent, and God-given inalienable human rights of all individuals to cultivate, steward, trade, and distribute food and water free from coercion or under interference, affirming that the farmer, the seed bearer, and the water keeper are the foundation of civilization and guardians of human survival, declaring that food sovereignty and water sovereignty are not privileges but God-given inalienable human rights, enshrined in natural law, LORE, which is for the indigenous side, and law, LAW, divine law, sacred writings, and international covenants, which is international law. Hereby establish the Earth, Food, Water, Sovereignty, Stewardship Charter under Section 7, Article 7.1 of the Ordinance GFPA 225, Ordinance of the New World Alliances to protect farmers, agricultural workers, water stewards, food distributors, and all consumers across Earth. This charter asserts that any violation against food or water sovereignty, soil integrity, or the livelihood of farmers constitutes a violation of international law, and then we quote the actual law. Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, UN Declaration on the Rights of Peasants, and believe it or not, they've got that, and the name is peasants, and the other people working in rural areas, 2018, UN Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples, 2007. An act of war under Article 51 of the UN Charter, 1945, an attack on God-given inalienable human rights under historical, spiritual, and natural precedent, including Genesis 1:29, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit will seed in it. Deuteronomy 11:14, I will give you the rain for your land in season. Quran 1999, it's he who sends down the water from the sky, and we bring forth thereby vegetation of all kinds. Rigad Vita Book 10, hymns, exalting waters as life givers. Magna Carta 12:15, Clause 47, protection of common rights to rivers and forests. The Treaty of Rome 1957, Article 39, security of agricultural supply. The Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties 1969, protection of natural sovereignty. Okay. Declaration of Universal Directives. The Charter is directed to all global authorities and powers, binding them. Do you see what we say? Binding them. We don't say, please, may we, binding them to uphold these rights. International bodies, UN, FAO, WHO, IMF, World Bank, WT, World Trade, ICC, ICJ, ITLOS. Governments, national parliaments, agriculture ministers, water boards, defense departments. Corporations, multinationals, including Monsanto, Bayer, Syngenta, Nestle, BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. Civil society, farmers union, and so on and so forth. Article 1, universal rights to food and water. Every man, woman, and child, family, and community has the God-given inalienable human right to grow and harvest food, store and replant seeds, seed sovereignty, access, harvest, and protect clean water, distribute and trade food and water resources freely and fairly. These rights shall not be infringed by monopolies, patents, or privatization, embargoes, sanctions, or engineered scarcity. The foundation for this is Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the right to adequate food and water, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, Declaration of Aklen 2002, Indigenous Declaration of Food Sovereignty. So do you see what we do with our charter? We base it on sacred, divine, natural, and international law. And if you go down to the bottom, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's available. And it's signed by all of our ambassadors, and it's signed by our sovereigns in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Then what happens, this is what's called our Global Secretariat with the New World Alliances that are the overseers of everything that happens. But the main one, if you notice, if you just go up again, sorry, you'll notice that the main signature here, if you go up a bit, go up a bit. Okay, there. Sir Larry and Swart, Chairman, New World Alliances. Once that signature appears, you'll see it's in red. It's royalty. It's the bloodline of the Habsburgs. And that's the Habsburg crown, by the way. And if you see that coat of arms, it's a permissioned coat of arms from the Habsburgs, where we created it into that symbolization. And it makes people worry, believe me, if they
Brendan,
take that. Yep.
Might want to give a little bit more detail as to the Habsburgs, not to concern anyone, but to give people a little bit of awareness as to the strength of the bloodline.
Okay, no problem. If you look at, there was some time back what was called an Illuminati. And that Illuminati was made up of basically 13 bloodlines. I think you're all aware of that. And those bloodlines had a pact to basically take over the world, control the world, etc., etc. Well, as it's gone on now, more and more of these bloodlines have realized that by killing 90% of the world and then keeping 10% as slaves, it's just stupid. It's not workable. So a lot of the bloodlines, Romanov, Habsburg, Li, which is the White Dragon, Chinese side of it, and a few others completely broke away. And when they broke away, it caused the Illuminati as we knew it to actually cave in. So the Illuminati, as you can see, is not as strong as it used to be. And there is a force now, what people call the white hats. You can call it what you want, but it's a force that's now saying, hey, we don't need to kill everybody. We've got to try and find a way to bring ancient wisdom to the table and bring the advanced technologies to the table and find a way that everyone in this world can survive, have a home, live a good life, and basically enjoy themselves. And we have a world that's on a better side. Habsburg goes back to the Austro-Habsburg Empire. Romanov, of course, is Russia. And if you know Melania, she's actually the Queen of Russia. I don't know if everybody's aware of that. That's why there's a lot going on at the moment that people don't understand. And but the bottom line, it's now up to the people to rise up, not in violence, to rise up with the most loving, peaceful attitude to everyone around them. And that is what's going to win the day. And that is what we're driving towards by giving you ambassadorial title, is for you to be that person that can knock on the right doors, that can go down to the council as an ambassador, not as a person who owes money. Okay, don't do that. Go down there as an ambassador to make yourself known and tell them that you are an ambassador, you are a peace ambassador, and if there's any problems in the neighborhood or anything like that, please call me. I want to be of service. I want to help with human rights. Now, if you feel you can't do that, man, shoot it up to the head office. Okay, wherever you find us in the world, we'll help. That's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. I look at it from being a CEO of this organization. I look at it as a blessing. I'm honored to wear the hat, and I look at it from the viewpoint of, I look down, I have to service everybody. Not they serve me, I'm here to service you. And that's the attitude we have in the New World Alliances. We don't look at, hey, come and serve me, I'm the god of this organization. No, it's what's below you, you service, you look after, you take responsibility or step down. In other words, if you feel you can't take that responsibility, find someone who's willing to do that. That's the way we operate in the New World Alliances, if that makes sense to everybody. Is that clear enough, James? Is that from your viewpoint?
Oh, no, yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Everybody understand that?
Thank you. Yes. Does anybody else have any other questions at all?
We got two questions, one from Barbara, one from Marco. So if you, Barbara, you want to go ahead with your question, unmute yourself.
Hi. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to gather up some brain cells because there's just so much to learn, which is very exciting. I've downloaded the food and water sovereignty paperwork and
Good.
read 2 or 3 times. Do we need separate membership for this? Because on page 16, it says something about we need to be those of us who are signed up for sovereignty stewardship alliances. Is this a separate thing that we need to be members of?
Yes, that will be for the farmer or the person growing the food. Yes,
Okay.
that is fresh off the block at this moment in time. So if you know of a farmer, but we'll be picking this up in the next week or two, and actually launching it into the UK as our first port of call is the UK, by the way, because we want to salvage every possible farm. Understand that if a farmer or a person doesn't want to come under the ordinance, that's where we get into trouble. If we try and help a farmer who's not under the ordinance, we are breaking international law. Do you get what I'm saying? That's when you get into trouble. So it has to be someone who's willing to come under the ordinance, who's willing to be that peace ambassador, because we have to make everybody a peace ambassador, all right, that gets the protection. And that's the agreement Solari has at the highest level. Just so you know.
Okay, that's good.
It's not the next door neighbor who suddenly they come with their hazmat suits. I'm sorry, if they don't have the ordinance, they're all game.
Okay, no, it's good.
Sadly, yeah.
And this is something new, so you've not really had time to test it, and because I mean, basically, they're just ignoring all the rule book, aren't they? Them. So it's really hard to and in all these cases, it's a case of what can you do against them if they just ignore and throw all the rules out and just go against you?
Well, as someone said to me the other day, okay, and be honest, and I have to be honest, it can an NWA protect me against anything? I said, no. Anything or everything. There's no such word, because I can assure you, if you're standing there with your peace ambassador card and there's a bunch of 48 guys walking down the road with AK-47 rifles, the bullets are going to fly. Okay, they don't recognize your ambassadorship. You understand, you've got to be practical about how you go about thinking about this. But I can assure you that if you've got a community on your side that are all peace ambassadors, you have a much better chance of surviving anything that comes your way. Same with me in Australia. Again, there's no difference here. We know there's big changes coming. We understand that, but putting those changes in place is going to take a lot of hard work. So we ask ambassadors, once you have your protection, you're quite within your right to sit at home and watch EastEnders until the cows come home, okay, and enjoy yourself and play Nintendo or whatever it is, and be with whoever you want to be with. Just remember that your contribution to your society and your community as ambassadors is vital. We will help you get off the ground to do that. We'll assist to put community groups together, especially in the UK. We've now classed ourselves as arrived. Solaria will work at the House of Lords, House of Commons, at that level, to make sure that everybody is. It's known that New World Alliances has arrived in the UK in a big way, and that leave my people alone, I leave your people alone. You understand what I'm saying to you? So we are going to be the group that doesn't comply, and we're going to be the group that does it peacefully, so that we don't cause any major problems. This does not interfere with your on the soil, on the land, unavon anything like that. You can have whatever other organization you want to be with. You can be in any religion or any faith you want to be in, and you can support the politician of your choice. We are not involved in that area. We're only involved in the area of God-given inalienable human rights. And boy, that expands into the arts, culture, ecology, science, technology, banking, finance. Every part of your life actually evolves around God-given inalienable human rights. And that's what we're looking for. The next ordinance to come out will be to protect health shops, vitamins, minerals. You cannot believe what they're planning to do on that. They're planning to close down every health store, every health facility. The only doctors you'll be able to go to are their doctors, etc., 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 etc. It goes on and on and on. So we're bringing out that ordinance next, which will protect you against that. Then we've got the one for AI and for any chips that they want to implant in your body. No World Alliance ambassador can have chips implanted inside them, etc., etc. And this is a lot of hard work on our side, which we undertake on our own self-determination because, hey, we want to help. That's basically what drives us. And to see a better world. I want to see a better world for my grandchildren. I have got grandchildren in Brighton. Okay, just for your, my daughter went from South Africa to England. So we've all got a stake in this game. We've got to protect ourselves, our families, our communities, our businesses. You know how fast they can close a business down. Now, this new law that's come out, I've just noticed it, is that you can only travel twice a year outside the UK, and that's it. There's no exceptions to the rule, and it's got to do with, believe it or not, their justification is that you know who he is, has said that there's too many people that are working that shouldn't be there working. That's the reason for the airplane situation. And we know what that's all about. So, and it'll go from 2 to 1, and then it'll go down to 0. So that nobody travels because of the dangers, because of this, because of that. Unfortunately, that is the world that we're heading towards. Fortunately, within the New World Alliances, we can hold that back, all right, for our members, for our ambassadors, and we can build a new parallel society for ourselves. And you've got to be willing to fight back. You know, you can't sit at home and just expect everybody to protect you. You've got to have an ability. And we will train everybody, Barbara. Don't worry. This is not just a case of you understanding, overstanding, comprehending everything in one day. It doesn't take one day. I've written some ebooks, which David can make available to you freely, that you can read. There'll be ongoing training, and there'll be ongoing, we'll be looking to get conferences going, online this, online that. Also, our administration headquarters runs out of Aotearoa, New Zealand, on Indigenous lands. So we'll be connecting you up to the Aotearoa, New Zealand Administrative Office that can help you all. And there'll be times when I'll bring all the Aotearoa New Zealanders on so you can meet them, talk to them, because we've got no broken walls in New World Alliances. We've got no telegraph poles either. You can't get to speak to this guy until you go to this guy. No. We're open communication. We believe in a person's right to express themselves, to say what they want to say. It's all to do with freedom of someone said to me, what are you? And I said, well, if you take the WF and the UN and the WHO, yes, we're the polar opposite. That's exactly who we are. And we've got a voice in the United Nations where we can actually help to take your voice to the United Nations. And you can then take your own voice there to the WHO, to wherever. Right now you have no voice. Am I right? Who do you go to? So you've got to shut your mouths and you've got to build up all this steam, all this resentment, all this hate, which is actually not doing you any good. Okay. You've got nowhere to vent, nowhere to write to, no one to speak to. Yet you can approach us, which is you, and say, hey, let's do this. Have we got a plan? Anybody who's got an idea within this group, for God's sake, let us know. We are open to any kind of idea, any sort of project you want to push forward, any way that you want to go and meet a minister or whatever. We can get the letter for you, etc., etc. I don't know. I am absolutely, I've just parachuted into the UK right now. I don't know the UK. Okay, I've been there twice in my life. I loved every moment of it. But the point is that you are on the ground, your boots on the ground, peaceful boots on the ground, and I have to learn and you have to teach me. I'm going to be here to assist you with New World Alliances from my own soul to you, to try and say to you, right, this is the way we can go. I'm going to uplift you, try and get you up to the highest level of ambassador I can, so that you can become an actual. We look at New World Alliances in the UK as being a franchise, a free franchise for you to operate independently of the New World Alliances and be part of the New World Alliances, if that makes sense. We don't want to hold people, control them, micromanage them, for God's sake. I've been through the corporate mill, been a CEO 3 times, and I've seen what works, what doesn't work, and I was supposed to be retired, and I'm hell of a retirement I'm having. But the point is, I'm doing what I believe has to be done right now.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a really full reply. And yeah, that's great. I'm really, I think a lot of us would like to know how to step up to the next level. And we're thrilled that you've actually come and started to do this training for us, because having joined, I was felt like, well, what am I supposed to do next? So I didn't know what I was meant to be doing next. I wasn't joining for what I could get. I was joining for what I could give. So this is really exciting, and yeah, it's thrilled to see what next, what we can all do together, and how we can protect ourselves and our families, but also how we can bring about the changes that we all desire. So thank you.
No problem, Barbara. Yeah, we're all here to serve. And
Barbara,
otherwise,
if you get in touch with me, Barbara, I can maybe talk you through the next steps and so on. As well, you have my email, and I believe you have my number as well. Sorry to butt in there, Brendan, but yeah, so I'm happy to help you from this end.
and we're so blessed to have Jeff Cook
Thank you.
and David
Yes, I'm
Farrar,
here. I'm listening.
who are holding the positions of. Jeff is the head of the GAD now for the UK, and David's taken on what we call our NWA Outreach Society, which is going to be our equivalent of UNESCO. If you know UNESCO in the United Nations, what we do in the United Nations, we know. I'll give it. My next training will be on the United Nations if you want, and you'll understand what they haven't done, where they went wrong, and etc. etc. I can cover that with you. It's quite a history. So what we're doing with the United Nations is we're taking each United Nations organization and we're countering it. We're opening up NWA UNICEF in a different way. Do you get what I'm saying? We're taking the responsibility that organization never took, and we're doing the right thing, not the wrong thing, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Brendan. That was terrific. And thank you, Barbara. I think, Tamara, you're next in line for asking your question.
Hi, good evening. Hi, how are you?
Tamara, hi.
Hi, Brendan. Hi. So my question is about the properties that are being changed to consulates or or ministries or etc.
Yes.
For example, my own property, I use it as a service accommodation, a service flat. So how does that work? And the reason for me doing that was, with what's been happening recently, I wanted to keep up with the payments of the house and all of that. So I leased it out, moved. So I'm using it as a service rental. What then happens if it becomes a consulate, if you have to have people staying
Well,
there or something?
as a consulate, you can fly the New World Alliance's flag. You can also fly the flags of all the other peace and trade members. You can then invite people in. And it doesn't have to be 100 people in your lounge, okay? It can be just a person by an appointment who can meet with you and you can discuss peace. It's as simple as that. That's what a consulate is all about, okay? Discussing peace in the neighborhood and helping the police force. You can even invite the head of the police force into your consulate. We've got a consulate now forming in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and the two sovereigns, and these are real sovereigns, and also chiefs and queens, and they're high level, live in a house that is right behind the police station, which is quite phenomenal. And every time now that the police want to speak to them, they come to the front gate and they actually shout and they hoot and they toot. And Sovereign Joseph goes out and he says, yes. And may we come in, sir? And he says, sure, come in, no problem. So that's the kind of respect he's basically been able to receive. I'm hoping to have Sovereign Karen and Sovereign Joseph to address you all. And that's another thing that will happen on these talks. It won't just be me talking. It'll be having the other ambassadors as well coming to meet you and giving you their perspective of New World Alliances from different countries, from different areas. And for you to look at, in America right now, we're probably concentrating more on the development of advanced technology, believe it or not. We're looking at how we can bring advanced technology into the homes and lives of people, because all of these ideas have been suppressed. So within the New World Alliances, we want to desuppress them. James, if you're still there, can you please just give us a little background on the advanced technology side as it stands at the moment? A short one.
I can do.
I haven't finished my question, or do I wait
Sorry.
until after James? Do I wait after?
No, tomorrow shoot. I think I don't think
Yeah.
Brendan really got what it was that you were saying. I think
Yeah,
what Tamara was saying was that it's a rental property. So if I'm just gonna jump in there, is that if you have a consulate and someone else is living in there, the protection still is on the property itself.
Right. Okay.
So there won't be any issues around that. I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication there,
Yes,
a misunderstanding.
To understand that if it's a rental, because I was thinking of, hopefully we don't want this situation, but I was thinking like if somebody needed refuge and they were trying to run towards the consulate, like how does that work if I have a guest there and stuff, and as long as there isn't any conflict.
My apologies on that one. Okay, I didn't quite understand that. Okay,
Yeah.
so a consulate and an embassy are two different things.
Okay.
If you are harboring a criminal in a consulate, don't do that.
Okay.
If there's a criminal, do not harbor them in a consulate, all right, at New World Alliances, because we cannot be part of that, if that makes sense.
Okay, I wasn't thinking about a criminal. I was thinking about a person that we're trying to protect, not a criminal.
Okay, and what protection would you be giving him?
Well, I was just thinking far out there, in case maybe there's somebody who maybe they want to be they're vaccinating people, and some people just need
Absolutely,
like a shelter.
consulate could help with that. Yes, if there's a violation of that person's human rights, absolutely. If you want to we have a whistleblower program as well. We have, yeah, I won't go into it on here, but we have that kind of facility as well, where we can actually protect people.
Good.
Okay. All right. So that I just wanted to know how that works together with the
Yeah.
property being a rental. But I think
But if, but if,
answered. Thank you.
but
Thank you.
but if someone's robbed the bank, okay, and they're running into your consulate, no, please, even in embassies, you could be surrounded. You don't want it. So the thing is, it's common. A lot to do with NWA really is common sense. That's what we like our ambassadors to use in any. And I'm not implying you do that. I'm just saying that there are levels of what you can and can't do. You know,
Yes,
and
that wasn't
Larry,
even that wasn't part of it at all. No, I wasn't thinking about criminals. I was thinking about people that may need help.
not implying that. I'm talking above to say, to try and give you a dichotomy. In other words, to look at it from how far we can go and how far we can't go.
Okay.
But that's part of the training. In all fairness to you and everyone here, how would you know until you've got the training and the knowledge, so of what you can and can't do? And each country is going to have to be looked at different, because we have to respect the governments, but we work with them, not against them. We work with them. We go to the highest level of negotiation, and we look at bringing our members into the protection light and let them know, listen, Busters, you're not messing around with our ambassadors. You know the repercussions on that, because if you want to cancel the ambassador law, 95% of you are out of work tomorrow, and you know that, because you're all using that ambassador law to protect yourselves. Why do you think you can't prosecute easily? I'm not going to go any further than that, but look at it. You can't. It's all their system. We are using their system against them. And they know it, and they are petrified, because they now know they can't go against us. There was a call for the House of Lords, called upon 5 barristers. And by the way, you know that a barrister, part of his training is a thing called devilry. The purpose of a barrister is to keep the case going. That's his purpose. So when the lawyer goes to the barrister keeps the thing going on and on and on and on, so that more money gets made. There's actually a part called devilry in their training. So these barristers sat down and they looked at New World Alliances and the Houses of Parliament, or the Houses of Lords, or whatever they are, were just rubbing their hands and saying, right, we want to bring these New World Alliances to an end. And the advice they got back from the barristers is, leave this group alone. You would rather not highlight them. Just don't even give them 1 second of your time. Leave them alone. You cannot do anything to them. So
Brendan,
just
it's 10. I know that when you get onto a flow, you are a man on a mission, but it is 10 to 11 over here, and I think there's a couple more questions that are kind of pending. I think,
no problem.
Sarah, if you got a question that you can throw in. I think you've been waiting for a little while.
Hang on.
Sorry,
Sorry, I've unmuted. Brendan, thank you so much. This is incredible. Everything you're saying really, really resonates. I'd just like to put that out there straight away. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I am on Somerset, on England. I'm part of TECA, as many of us are. I've reconveyed onto the land and soil. And last night I watched the first time that you guys met with Anna von Reitz, and there was discussion on how you could work together. I think Tony Carroll posed the question, how do we get an alignment, etc. And I remember Anna saying something along the lines of, Well, ultimately, we're all heading towards being on the land and soil, part of the land and soil jurisdiction. I'm very aware when I listen to you, the wording that you use, titles, crowns, ambassadors, understand, all the sort of the words that we go, oh, we mustn't say that, we mustn't do that, it's part of the old, etc. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely hear what you're saying about the ultimate natural, universal, sacred laws, God's law, etc. So I'm really not going against that at all, because I really resonate with this. I'm really aware of the similarities and the differences between NWA and TECA, and I'm trying to take this through to the nth degree, how it all ends, and how it all, because if Anna's suggesting that we're all, she's repopulated the courts of the land and soil, and you guys are doing it differently and extraordinarily effectively. How does that merge together? Is there a bridge at the end? I kind of, in some ways, I can answer it doesn't really matter as long as we get there. But have you discussed it with Anna? Can you see a kind of a bridge together? Because I noticed, Brendan, that you said a lot of the NWA members are joining TECA, and that's really interesting. So there's obviously some value. And I'm interested to know how you see this going forward with TECA and NWA working together. I yield. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So first of all, if you look at the word New World Alliances.
Sorry,
okay,
yeah.
when you put the S at the end of alliance. If you say New World Alliance, well, that makes us an individualistic organization trying to take control of everybody.
Sure.
We are the alliance. Okay. So what we're saying is no. We don't claim who's we? It's you and I. You are the New World Alliances. You're just as much the New World Alliances as I am. Because, hey, I've got my TECA documents at the moment. I haven't even had a chance to fill them in yet. Okay. I've just kept so busy. But I am you and you are me. And this is where the world has gone wrong. It's a case of, well, I'm the blue shirt, you the red shirt. I'm TECA. Now, hang on a minute. I don't want to be part of New World Alliances. But we are like-minded, right? We are like-minded groups and like-minded people. And that is what is being kept apart. You get it?
Yeah.
An example, we have communities. In our ecology section, we had the rhino community. And there's got a community around the world that actually wants to stop the rhino from going extinct. Do you know that none of these little groups know each other? They're all fighting for the dollar to try and save the rhino, but none of them around the world, spattered around the world, actually know each other. Within the New World Alliances, we're bringing all those groups together to fight the common problem, which is to save the rhino. So we flow every ounce of assistance we can towards the alliances of the rhino, the alliances of the tomato, the alliances of clean the ocean. Because that's what the New World Alliances is all about. It's about bringing all these communities together to find common ground where we can all work together, because we've basically all got the same survival principle.
Sure.
We want survival. But if we stay apart, which is what the powers that be, I'm going to be careful how I phrase this, as an ambassador, okay, the powers that be operating on that side of the game, that side of the fence, look at it by keeping us apart, by making sure that we are as divided as they possibly can make us, so that we can't find the common ground. So TECA becomes this group that has to fight on its own, and there's no support.
Yeah,
you get it. The New World Alliances, okay, number one, boom, you're protected. Okay, so you're untouchable. So now we get together and find common ground to bring about peaceful meaningful ways of getting remedies that don't have to go into court, that don't have to have bailiffs being beaten up outside the back door, that don't have to have this, that find solutions, for God's sake, where we can take up with the people, by the people, a solution that brings about an end result, if that makes sense. In whatever
Absolutely.
culture it's
Yeah,
in.
yeah. And do you know what? I can kind of, I don't think there is an end point at this point. We move forward peacefully, beautifully, and then there will be probably become points where groups discuss and go, okay, what's our next step together?
But
But
Sarah,
there are differences.
sorry,
Sure,
I
sure.
thought, can I
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
a little bit about to answer the question about what is the nth outcome, right?
Sure. Yeah, please do. Thank you.
We're talking about the next few steps to try and bind humanity together to improve its collective consciousness. It will not be very long until, and this ties in with what Brendan was asking to speak about in terms of advanced technologies, and it's not really that advanced. I can promise everyone on this call the ability to extract energy from a 0 point vacuum is already here. Right? The ability to have energy at a fraction of the price that currently exists will not be very far down the line. Now, at the moment, we're living in a world of scarcity. And the moment that scarcity drives the world is the moment that wars will be fought around the world, and there won't be any peace. The single biggest factor in removing war around the world will be making energy free and creating an abundance. Once abundance is had, then there doesn't need to be all of this animosity will evaporate, right? And then we'll think about much more utopian ideas of how humanity can grow with its creativity and its love and its awareness, right? And looking to the stars. And this isn't going to be very far away. We just need to break through that husk of suppression, which has been here for quite a number of decades. But I can promise you, it is very, very close from being broken. That's the next
Beautiful.
step.
Perfect. Thank you. That's gorgeous from both of you. I yield and thank you both very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much for that, James and Brendan. That's terrific. And Sarah for your question as well. Next person got their hand up, I think, is Harvinder.
Hello again. Thank you very much. Very insightful. This is, I think, the second time we've got together with everyone, yourself, Brandon and James. One of the things I wanted to touch base with you is I talked to David about this already, reference to finding land which is unincorporated under the Crown, and we can get probably a few thousand acres of land. And if you have the ordinance recorded under NWA, we can put that as also security area to grow and cultivate. I was particularly looking at that with Anavan rights to record their under their ordinance, but we can work together to find this particular type of ground where we can grow, cultivate for the people, by the people. There's lots of people in the UK looking to do this, and we have a few farmers as well that we can talk. There's lots of ideas that I have and discussed some of them with you before. One of them is a friend of mine, family friend for many years. He has a jumbo jet we can utilize. I have yet to pin him down, and he's trying to escape London in a sense to take his capital wealth, as well as the plane away. But we can, if I can get him in to as ambassadorial role, perhaps we can put the flag on the jet.
You can turn the jets into a global consulate.
Yes, this is the idea that I was thinking of, and perhaps we can discuss this. And are you recording any form of land jurisdiction on NWA at the moment?
In our asset portfolio you're talking about?
Yes.
No, we haven't. We've been doing mostly. Okay, if you look at the book of Genesis, just as an example, we are day 2, and we probably got to 12 o'clock. Okay, it's been a massive undertaking to take this on in a global standard, and also we've built this with no money. Okay, we built this out of a passion, but now we're starting to attract we've had a lot of attention now for people seeing exactly who we are, because a lot of the entrepreneurs out there and the philanthropists are not giving any money to the UN at the moment because they just can't. They just don't know where it's going. They stopped giving money to US aid and all these NGOs. But they're starting to look at the likes of the New World Alliances. Now, once again, who are the New World Alliances? It's all of us. So when we bring money into the New World Alliances, it goes into what we call the New World Alliances trusts. And who are our beneficiaries? You are our members. So it's a case of bring the project forward. Okay, it's a case of, well, no, that's not that's a Tecker project. No, that's it's an Assemblies project. Oh no, that's Wilson's project. No, that's the difference. You see, we have no fighting before we get even a cent of money on the table. We're looking at, hey, what is the most presentable project that can go forward? So buying land and securing properties as research and development stations is what we had in mind, because that gives us the sanctity of declaring that more protected than anything. We know that what's coming, we have to make sure that our members have got food. So that is something we have to look at. So if we're going to do that with Anna, with whoever, we've got to do it now. Okay, before we can't get the food grown for whatever reason, etc., etc. So yes, all those ideas are more than welcome. We'll put them on the table, and we have a team that can go through, and we can include you on that committee too if you want. It's not a problem. We're open to all of that. There's
Okay.
no
Brilliant, absolutely. And the other one of the other things that most of us, like you said, Sarah mentioned, we are from Tecker, and a lot of us have the AFDs, which have been allocated by Anna. They're worth quite a bit at the moment until we get our prosperity card in action. It should be in this month, we were told. And I've looked onto the Crown Exchange. They've actually got the pairing already with different, particularly with crypto. It's a huge exchange, and I'm exploring that, how we can monetize that in gold capacity, not in fiat, and perhaps even incorporating some of it in crypto. My knowledge goes far back as 10, 15 years in terms of crypto. So we can discuss other things like that as well. So I should be discussing that sometime in future with yourself and James. We touched base a little bit on that earlier with bonds and so forth. Brilliant. So that's me. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you very much.
Harpinder. I don't have a question as such at the moment, but I put my hand up for Andrea. So Andrea, because she couldn't access the reaction button. So Andrea, would you like to unmute and ask your question, please? Thank you.
Hello, thank you, David. My question is, I'm part of Tecker. I already changed my political status, we call it here, and I'm part of the land and soil jurisdiction and I changed my number plates, and I was stopped by the police in June, and I was treated really, really bad, and I was assaulted. I was yes. I mean, he tried to arrest me, and one after the incident, I tried to complain. I made I tried to make a complaint with the police, and the next day they follow me. So I decided not to say anything, just to stay. I mean, so in that case, I mean, I already have a member of the New World Alliances. I have the card. In that circumstances, what can I do? I mean, just well, what do you suggest I can do in this situation?
Did you have the card at the time that you were assaulted?
Yes, they stopped me because they said I had an unlawful number plate.
No. Did you have were you a card-carrying peace ambassador at the time that happened?
No, I didn't. No.
All right. That's a little bit difficult. But I want you to lodge a human rights violation. Were you assaulted physically?
Physically, still I have an injured. Yeah.
Okay. Please lodge a complaint via David, and we'll send it over to our global head of social justice, and we'll take it up as a human rights violation. That is definitely a human right. When you get assaulted like that, that's definitely a human rights violation. We will take that up just as a case, just so you know.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay.
We'll do that for anyone that's not a peace ambassador, by the way, okay? Because that's a gross human rights violation. But what we're working towards is getting decals that you can put on your car, your doors, to put signs on your houses. All kinds of things will be coming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrea, and thank you, Brendan, as well for that. That sounds really, really good, actually. Take it up as a human rights issue. That's fantastic.
Well, it is. It's a human rights violation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Holy
I think the next person is Fabio. Fabio, do you have a question now? Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Fabio.
Yes, hi. I actually lost from word. I'm very excited to be here. I didn't know much about New World Alliances. I heard a few times, but I didn't pay much attention. And when I spoke to David a few days ago, I said, I want to know more. Put the Zoom together. Thank you, David, for putting this fantastic Zoom. I'm excited. I want to ask you something. You say before that UK is in a mess. Yeah, it is in a mess. Actually, whatever we do with sovereign stuff, the love of the land, I'm a man, free man and woman on the land, is not working at all. I did a few things like 2 years ago, a speeding ticket on a 20 miles an hour. I was doing like 23, and I got a speeding ticket from the police. And Arvinda, I know Arvinda a long time, my good friend. He said, send back to sender, with writing, no lawful, all those kind of things from the UCC 308. So I sent back to sender, and Arvinda said, three times that we write to you, and you 3 times you send it back. So what I did, I sent it back. They wrote me back. I sent it back twice, and I beat Arvinda actually, because after twice they didn't they didn't bother doing anymore. I beat you, Arvind, on that. Anyway, what I'm saying, that was my very first case with the police, and I used this sovereign system, let's call it. But usually it doesn't work. I had a very good friend of mine. I'm part of tech as well, by the way, global family. I've been introduced by my very good friend, Vanessa, which is a part of global family. She's been evicted after 3 years fighting against eviction, but she won the case, and she had the paperwork with from the judge, from the court, saying it's been discontinued. So she won the case, but she received a letter from those bastard, sorry to say that, of enforcement agent, which they go around to stealing people of properties with fake warrant, no sign. Anyway, everybody knows about this. And I was with her on that day, and I was shocked. I had my blood pressure went to the roof. I felt like to punch them, but I restrained myself because I know, they broke in the door. They still evicted. Even if they read the paperwork, they read, she said the paperwork, I won the case, it's been discontinued, and they say, I don't care. We got a court order to evict you. So when we saw the court order was a fake court order, a fake rate, and I was filming this guy, and I say, you are a criminal. And all the police, and I told them, you are criminal as well because you assisting them. You're risking 14 years in prison for this. They say, I don't know nothing about it. Okay, I say, you will see. What I'm saying is, what you do when you being attacked like that. I mean, when you are slapped in your face, you cannot turn your cheek 100 times. But what Vanessa told me, one thing is, with sovereign staff, it won't work. What is working in UK is with the legislation. Learn the legislation and fight them back with the legislation because they break every rule. And she's winning the case. She got good people behind her. They know in and out of the legislation. And they try to close down, shut it down, the enforcement agent. And also post it in YouTube. And I hope, as you say, with New World Alliances, we can solve this problem. I mean, I lost the war. I got a lot of things to say, but I stop there because otherwise, what's your view about this, what's happened in UK? If we can tackle this problem.
Yeah, sure you can. We can, sorry, not you, we. First of all, any human rights violation, remember the word human rights violation, right? What you're looking at is you're dealing with a society that no matter where you go in the world, you will always get the criminal mind. That is something which is in the society. It's a small percentage of people, but you do get the criminal mind. Well done for restraining yourself, because that is what they want. They want you to get into a violent pose, because once you do that, you're finished.
Yes.
Okay, they got you. Then they
But I
got
told
you
them off. I told them all sorts.
That's all right. That's no problem. You had the right to do that.
And I was filming them.
That's also good, because what I want you to be able to do now is to lodge a human rights violation. Once we receive the human rights violation, we go to the 5 letters. Remember the 5 letters? And what we do in the cease and desist is we indicate to them, we say, look, we will be taking this further. And if we take it further, we're going to be taking it to the ICC, but also to the highest prosecutorial offices in the world. That's what we do because we're global. Now, we have a stronger case if it's our member. If it's not our member, we still have a case. So if your next door neighbor that it happens to, it's still a human rights violation, is it not? She had a court order which said that she was free in Gracia. She was able to leave. Her house was hers, and then some criminal organization came by and took it away from her. So it's a gross human rights violation. Now, if we get enough of these cases, which I bet we have got, okay, we start lodging and lodging and lodging. It gives Sir Larry the opportunity to go to the House of Lords and say, hey, what the hell is going on here? You with me? And we can take it up at a lot of levels. By the way, I'll organize Sir Larry to come on a call with you all as well. And that'll be the most interesting day you'll ever have in your lives. So you can meet the chairman and you can bring up all of this with him as well. But we need as big a contingent as we possibly can because the man is on the Global War Council, where he's trying to stop the Third World War at the moment, which tends to be more important than a lot of things, because if we go down that path, we're going to have a big problem. But he will make himself available. He's so excited about this new UK group because he's been wanting this for a long time. And I'll set that up, and James will help me set that up as well. Yeah, so let's take it up as a human rights violation. Now, as a global ambassador diaspora, hopefully you get to that level, and you want to get to that level. You can go knock on the police's door and say, hey, I need to speak to someone here about a gross human rights violation. Who deals with gross human rights violation in this police station? And inevitably, they're going to send you to the PR department. That's the strange part about it. And you're going to make friends. And if we keep on making friends of the police, listen to me carefully. All right. I know they could be Masons. They could be this. They could be that. Don't worry about that. Okay. Let that go. That's their right of passage. What they do, a lot of stuff we don't agree with, but that's not the issue here. The issue here is the human rights violation needs to be attended to. It needs to be looked into, and it needs to be serviced. So we're with you, Paolo. We'll take Fabio. Sorry, we'll take this one step at a time. As long as everybody realizes we've got to use very, very clever strategy in establishing NWA without causing many waves and just smooth sailing to get our results. Is that okay with everybody? We don't want to stir up everybody. That's not what we do. We come in on a smooth wave and we handle things peacefully, amicably, and correctly.
So I was thinking, Brenda, I was thinking my feeling is to go to the police station and say, I want to report a crime. And if they say against who, I say against these policemen. What do you reckon? I got a proof. No, okay. No, that's my feeling.
No, that's your feeling. You've got the proof. Okay. Let's take it on the gradient. Right? If you take it on the gradient with the paper trail, right, they start worried. Because when you start producing a paper trail, you've got what's called a house of records. Most people go down there, they lay a charge with on their own documents. All right. No. Do this on the basis of the paper trail on the gradient, because when you do it on that basis, they've got no way of coming back at you. Absolutely no way, because you're not being offensive, you're being defensive. You're not labeling them, you're saying there's been a human rights violation. You're not saying who did it, you just say there's been a gross human rights violation. This is what I have reported. I am a global ambassador diaspora. One of my members, my peace ambassadors that I look after, has had this done to them. Who do I speak to in this organization about gross human rights violations, which is a crime, by the way,
Yeah.
but you're not calling it a crime, because the second you do that, it's us versus them. How dare you come in here and lay a charge against one of us? You go, boom, and the game on. Manchester United versus Manchester City, right there. Boom, it's on. Okay, you get it. It's the derby. It's the populace versus the police, and there's the game. We are, as ambassadors, the referee that comes in and says, right, captain of the Manchester United, come here. Captain of the Manchester City, come here. All right, now listen, stop your nonsense. All right, because your nonsense is causing problems. You cause any more trouble, I will send one of your guys off. Yes, sir, no problem. You become the referee. Stop taking sides. The second you take sides, you have an opposing force in the game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got an opposing force in the game, it's game on. It's the people with the cars with no number plate versus the police. Right? And boom. No. What we want to do is we want to get the New World Alliance's ambassador decals on the car. Okay, keep your number plates. Whatever plates you want to put on there makes no difference now because you now an ambassadorial car.
Right.
You have diplomatic papers. We had Omari. You can check with Omari. He had his brother who had a problem. He didn't even believe in New World Alliances. I think Omari bought the peace ambassador card for him as a present. And he got stopped by the police. He phoned Omari and Omari said, Maury, what can I do? Maury said, well, you're an ambassador now. So he showed them his police ambassador card. They gave him a journey back to his house with the lights going. Apologized to him. You understand? No number plate problems. It's nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the fact that you're on an ambassadorial duty. You have diplomatic papers, which happens to be your ordinances. Can we see your papers? No, you can't see my papers. Unless I desire. And if you want to show them the papers, show them the papers. But you've got to learn to act like an ambassador. That's very important. You can't go flying around the world in flip-flops and T-shirts, a singlet and shorts with your ambassadorial thing around your neck. We've had that. You know, and it's problematic unless you're in Thailand or Vietnam or someplace like that. But the thing is, for goodness sake, dress appropriately, act appropriately, and use the manners that a diplomat would use. And mostly with a diplomat, and I'll do all the training for you on the ambassador side, it mostly is don't talk, listen. Let them do the talking. Ambassadors don't say very much. They just listen, acknowledge. It's all right, I'll take that up. Okay, and I'll go through all this training with you. When you travel as an ambassador, how to check your hotel room. You've got to have a bugging device. It's like a James Bond story. But you don't carry a weapon, okay, and you're not licensed to kill. All right? You're licensed to change the world around you and to use the most peaceful way you could possibly do that. And that's why it's the New World Alliances with the S at the end, because we're all like-minded groups. And you'll find if we start getting a situation arising and 500 million people send a letter to one police station, what the hell's that police station going to do? It's to do with mass sanity. As we get aberration as a crooked line, and we get aberrations spreading wherever we go, the same thing can apply to sanity. Madness can spread, but so can sanity. And that's what we bring with the New World Alliances, is that little damn ounce of sanity that we throw into the fish pond that just goes bing, and all the ripples go out, and then sanity starts to enter into the area.
Right.
Thank you, Fabio, and thank you very much,
Thank you,
Brendan. I'm just thinking it's now 11 in the UK. We've got two more questions. Sorry. Can they be really quick, please, if possible? Yeah. Unless you're happy to stay on, Brent, unless everybody's happy to stay on. I mean,
I'm here.
I'm
I'm
easy.
here to stay on until you want to fall asleep. I have an appointment in half an hour. Right.
Sorry, guys.
It's my chief of staff.
No problems. Okay, thank you. Hi, Ronelle.
Hi.
Okay, so we'll, Marco, would you like to ask your question? Thank you for that, Brendan. Thanks very much.
No
Fabio.
problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
so my question is quite quick. And you mentioned that they want to restrict travel to twice a year. As
Yeah.
ambassadors, will we be getting a ambassador passport?
On an now, okay, let me clarify this. The world has changed drastically, Walker. It's to the point now where there's a lot of fission between countries. Have you noticed it? Where an ambassador could travel with his or her diplomatic passport and travel the world freely. That's gone. If I am the ambassador for Australia for the United States, I've got freedom between United States and Australia, government-wise. If I want to travel to El Salvador, I've got to get permission from the El Salvadorian embassy, even if I'm the ambassador for Australia for the United States. And El Salvador and other countries like that, example, are saying, yeah, and bring your other passport with you as well, because they now have the right to tell an ambassador to travel on their normal passport. Okay, the world has changed. What we do in the New World Alliances, all right, is our office, our assignments office, puts you on what's called a diplomatic assignment. So we then notify the country you're traveling to that you are the foreign affairs, that you're coming on a diplomatic assignment, and we notify England or Britain or whatever it is that you are officially on a diplomatic assignment. Now, that can't be a holiday. You understand that? It's got to be something which shows that you're doing something diplomatic, or you're helping, or you've got some value to add. That is why we call it a peace and trade treaty, because a lot of countries don't see the value of peace. You're aware of that. But they see the value of trade. If you can bring them dollars and peace, you're in the top bracket. If you can bring them peace and it's not the same. But if you can be of value to your country, of value to the association, that is what it's all about. So we are opening trade routes. That is what we're doing at the moment as well. We've taken ourselves into a significantly different channel within the New World Alliances to open up businesses and help operations to expand and flourish and prosper. Since we've done that, we've found a lot more countries are open to us. And by the way, bring your peace with you. You get what I'm saying? It's a changed world. This thing that's happening in England is going to happen in Australia, New Zealand. It's going to happen worldwide. They're going to bring down the traveling restrictions. They don't want people to travel. They're bringing in the 15-minute cities where they're just going to put this. People are saying, are we going to build the 15-minute cities? No, they're just going to put the dome. Have you heard the dome, the mention of the dome in Israel, the dome in America, the Golden Dome, all the domes? What this is an electronic dome that they're just going to drop on an area, bam. Okay, and if your card, your credit card, your whatever card, you won't be able to use it outside that jurisdiction. When you go to the shops, if you don't have your digital ID, you won't be able to get into the shop, when you put your thing through there. And they're going to tell you it's because of security, because of all the stealing, because of it. They'll tell you everything under the sun. And then you'll have an allocation of meat. You'll buy your meat, go to the counter, and the cashier will say to you, sorry, You've had your allocation of beef. You had your 500 grams last week. Your next allocation is due, but in 3 weeks' time. But you have an allocation for spaghetti. You have an allocation for broccoli. I'm not kidding you. I know this for a fact. It's coming. Okay. We as ambassadors fall out of that because we're in essential services. Remember in the COVID, you had essential services, right? So you have to be showing that you're part of those essential services. So we give you assignments, and please, you have to carry them out because we can't help it if you don't. But if you've got a business or a company you're running, we'll make sure that the assignment brings in your present life as well. If you're on a holiday, you can do an assignment as long as you basically are straight. We say ambassadors traveling to Brazil. They'll be coming to do help with the street children situation there, to meet with the Minister of Children or whatever the case is, to discuss these matters, to do an observation, to work with the churches, because there's 300,000 Roman Catholic churches in Brazil. Okay, we'll be there to speak to the Roman Catholic fraternity, the Vatican, whatever the case is. While our ambassador is there, they will be taking a 2-week, well-deserved holiday. You get it. So if you're going for 4 weeks, then you don't have a problem because they will follow you around. They're following everyone around the moment, especially as an ambassador. They're going to be checking up on you, which is their right. It's their security right to do that. So just understand we are entering a new world, and with new world alliances, we're trying to make it as smooth and as happy as we possibly can for everybody concerned. But don't go into fear, all right? Because we've got this. I can tell you that we've got this. We will master this and we'll get better at it. And we'll all be working together because we need to deliver and help, because there's going to be one hell of a lot of trauma coming from people, because the death rate is rising around the world. It's all being covered up at the moment. All kinds of things are happening that are being held back from the public because of mass hysteria. But that mass hysteria is going to sooner or later come out because people are going to hear the truth. So we've got to be there to assist our fellow man through this period of time. You've asked me to go deep. I've gone deep. I'll go deeper, but it'll take a little bit of time for everybody to understand, overstand, comprehend where we're headed. But we have a solution. And NWA is completely solutions oriented. We don't want to hear problems. We just want to see solutions. So when I have people bringing me the problems, I just say, right, what's the solution? Let's find the solution. I want to deal with the problem. The only thing you can do with a problem is deal with the solution. So that's what we do in our management side too. All these problems, I say, no, come on. Let's take them one at a time. Let's get the solution. Let's look at solution. And that's how we run our whole ethos in the New World Alliances. Does that help to answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brendan. That was really, really inspiring and eye-opening as well, I think, to a lot of people that are on this meeting, especially new people that are looking to join, but just wanted to have the confidence about joining. That's fantastic. Really, really good news.
And
Thank
get
you
all
very
your
much.
friends and family, and get as many of your friends and family to join ASAP. All right. And then we need to get you onto your peace and trade treaties. And we need to basically cover you with cotton wool if you want to know the truth. And it can be done. All right. And I'm sure you've got loved ones around the world as well, in different parts of the world. Same applies. It's coming to a town near you.
Yeah.
Paris has got 52, just so you know, 52 15-minute cities earmarked to start.
Is that starting very soon or immediately or?
Yeah, right now.
Wow.
So if you visit Paris, get in there fast because You're not going to get in there very easily again, unless you're an ambassador.
It's also happening in Vietnam, Brandon. They've shut down 100,000 accounts, bank accounts over there.
86 million
Oh,
in one day.
for now.
Yeah, 86 million in one day, and told them all to come the next day. To get their money back, they have to get digital ID. So there goes Vietnam. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gone.
Well, thank you very much for that. Sorry, I think we've got Angelina still has a question to ask just now. So we'll just ask Angelina's question, please, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a hoarse voice as I've got a bit of cold going on. Lovely to meet you, Brandon, and thank you for your time for doing all this. And thank you, David, for putting this together as well. And Ravinda for the Zoom. So I'm Angelina, and I'm also part of the Global Family Group as well. I'm signed up, so I've reconveyed and everything as well. Question that I'm wondering about, because I missed a little bit at the beginning of this. I'm not quite sure if you've kind of covered this, but I'm just sort of wondering about, I mean, me being part of this new alliance, obviously I'll have an ID and everything. What about our children? Where do children fit in? What sort of age is it that you can sort of have them signed up and things like that for their protection and things? Or is there a way of joining them onto your?
Yeah, what we've done is in the earliest days of COVID, we had some Aboriginal people, and they had a child of 6 months that was in the quarantine, which is basically the prison. And they were going to force vaccinate the child the next day and the parents. And we rushed to get a Peace Ambassador card membership to the baby. It was the youngest Peace Ambassador in the world. And we notified the Foreign Ministry. And the Foreign Minister at that time, Julie Bishop, you can look her up, basically sent out a communique to the quarantine center and said, under no circumstances is that baby to be touched. It's an ambassador. Okay. And the baby and the parents were kicked out of the quarantine the next day and told never to ever enter a quarantine center in Australia again. You're banned. So does that answer your question? Also in the Peace and Trade Treaty, we had our sovereigns, which I'll introduce you in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and which, David, you can set up any time for the sovereigns to talk to anybody as well from your office. Not a problem at all.
Thank you.
They specialize in sovereignty, and they are real specialists in sovereignty. You must know they've gotten enormous amount of people through, and they basically have brought into the Peace and Trade Treaty a section for children and families now as well. So we had to look at how to do that, and we've introduced it. Normally it was a personal and then a business, but now we've taken it one step further with the families. So we have heard you. Everyone's got children or grandchildren, so we have to get them protected. So we're with you all the way.
Especially with what's going on, and all these talks of wars and different things like that. And, they can bring your children up to fight their wars and things if they're not, fully covered. So, I just, that's kind of helped a bit.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
And
we'll look
that's been kind of very heavy on my mind, so.
Any situation that comes up, we'll address. So any problem you have, any question you have, we'll look into it. No problem at all. Just please take it up with David and Jeff. They're your people on the ground now, and we are so excited to have them. They've been prepared to step up to the mark and take that responsibility. But we're open to any questions or anything you want to give us. We're there to help. We're there to serve.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Angelina, and thank you very much, Brendan. That's great again. I think we don't see any hands up at the moment. So I think we might just say thank you very much to yourself and Harvinda for stepping in with the Zoom.
Yes, Harvinda, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Harvinda, for that. And also, James, thank you very much for your participation as well and your help. And everybody else for joining. Really, really appreciate it. I've now been initiated. Is the way I see it.
Just so everybody knows that James heads up our Special Operations Bureau, but he's also just been promoted to the COO for our organization.
Congratulations, James.
Congratulations, James. Congrats.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So are you buying us all Milky Bars then, James?
Yeah, the Milky Bars are on me, mate. Yeah. No, David, Jeff, Harvinda, thank you very much for organising all of this, putting it together. It's essential that we start to form these unions, these relationships, because there are going to be some interesting times ahead, which many of you will know is a Chinese curse. So let's try and do what we can to circumvent everything in our path moving forwards and keep each other safe and keep each other well. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting all of you. Thank you very much.
And let's get new peace ambassadors rolling in, because that's
I've got 50 coming. Don't worry.
You're going to be challenging the Ayatora New Zealand lady. She's got 1,000.
Listen, I've not even started. I've just come back from holiday. So when I get going, you'll see. I have a whole other groups that want to join. I'm just gearing them up to get ready, and they all have projects and they all have ideas, but first and foremost, to get them in and get them trained up for sure.
Yep, that's absolutely our pleasure to welcome them and to uplift them to Global Ambassador Diaspora and onwards.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for today, giving us time.
Just wanted to, sorry, just one last little word. Just wanted to say, if anybody on here wants to find out more about the New World Alliances and how to join, navigating the website, anything like that, please do get in touch with me, and I can talk you through it over the phone, or we can meet up for a beer or a coffee or water. So the door's open. So anytime, you have my number, my details, and my emails. So please do get in touch.
Thank you,
very
David.
much.
I consider this my birthday present. Tomorrow is my birthday, so
happy birthday!
Happy birthday. I consider this New World Alliance my birthday present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Fabio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Fabio.
Happy birthday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I think I'm going to bid you all good night and have a great day, Brendan and Merrick, Brendan and Ronelle. Sorry.
Thank you.
Tell I'm tired. And we'll
see you.
See you,
everyone.
Thank you,
Right.
everyone.
Right.
Bye.
Bye then.
Thank you so much.